Hello there and welcome to Joe Awesome One channel. This is going to be my reading of Disney's Dumbo for all ages, and yes, enjoy. Here we go. The circus train was loaded and ready to start the trip north from winter quarters in Florida, but it was waiting for something. The clowns were ready. The acrobats were ready. Nearly everyone was ready. The giraffes stuck their long necks through the roof of their cart to find out the reason for the delay. Only the elephants knew why the train hadn't started. The old gossips among them whispered in secret to one another, "It's Mrs. Jumbo. She's waiting for her baby." Just then, a stork carrying a large heavy bundle flapped to a stop on the roof of the elephant's car. "Well, little fella," he said to the bundle, "let's be going." Then he hollered, "Mrs. Jumbo, calling Mrs. Jumbo." The other elephants waved their trunks through the hatch of the elephant car. "Over here, stork," one of them trumpeted. The stork fluttered down to the floor of the car and deposited his bundle next to Mrs. Jumbo. "Here's your baby, Mom, Jumbo Jr." Mrs. Jumbo carefully unwrapped the bundle. Smiling up at her was the most adorable blue-eyed baby elephant anyone had ever seen. The old gossip looked over the partition at the mother and her new baby. "Better than I expected," whispered one. "Isn't he adorable?" Another, "Goody, goody, goody," said a third, tickling the baby with her trunk. And at that moment, Jumbo Jr. sneezed. And when he sneezed, his ears flopped forward. They were no ordinary large elephant ears. They were enormous ears, almost as big as the entire baby. And the gossips were horrified first. Then they began to giggle and laugh at the funny-looking baby elephant. "Jumbo indeed," giggled one. "He should be called Dumbo. That fits perfectly." But Mrs. Jumbo turned her back on them and wrapped her baby's ears around him and cuddled Dumbo to her lovingly. The circus train chugged along, and when it had to climb a mountain, it struggled up the steep slope, panting, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. When it started down the other side, it went faster and faster and huffed, I thought I could, I thought I could, I thought I could, I thought I could. Finally, the train stopped with a jolt in a little town. The circus people set up their tents and prepared to give their first show. Dumbo watched the other elephants perform. They could do all kinds of tricks, balancing delicately with 2 feet on a ball, standing on their hind legs with trunks raised in the air. Looking at them, Dumbo wondered if he could ever perform such tricks. His mother tried to protect him from the teasing of the circus folk and the people who came to see the biggest little show on earth. But once they caught sight of the little elephant with the big ears, people laughed. One day some children were especially unkind. When one boy actually started to pull Dumbo's ears, it was too much for his mother. Mrs. Jumbo snatched the boy up and spanked him with her trunk. The ringmaster cried, "She's wild! Tie down her trunk! Take her away! Put her in jail!" Poor Dumbo. He was left all alone in Mrs. Jumbo's empty stall. The other elephants wouldn't have nothing to do with him. "He's a freak," as they said. "And it's his fault Mrs. Jumbo's in jail. Furthermore," said the leader of the gossips, "I wouldn't eat at the same bale of hay with him." A tough little circus mouse named Timothy overheard all this unkind talk. "What's the matter with his ears?" he asked. "I think they're cute." Timothy decided Dumbo needed a friend and he would be it. But Dumbo trusted no one anymore, and he hid from Timothy in his haystack. "Look, Dumbo, I am your friend," said the mouse on a haystack. "Look what I've got for you." And he held up a peanut. "Come on out. We can be friends." Maybe together we can get your mother out of the clink. Dumbo began to listen to Timothy, especially when the mouse explained that lots of people with big ears were famous. Now look, Dumbo, if you're famous, they don't make fun of you. If they don't make fun of you, your mama don't get sore. If she don't get sore, they let her out of jail. And everything's okay. Dumbo nodded. So all we got to do is make you a star, Dumbo, the Great. Timothy paused and scratched his whiskers. The Great what? He wondered. Now it happened that the ringmaster wanted to build the most sensational elephant act anyone had ever seen. Timothy overheard him talking about it. The ringmaster stands 17 elephants. One climbs up on top of the other until 17 elephants make a tremendous pyramid. The drums are drumming, and then comes the climax. The trouble was, the ringmaster had not figured out what the tremendous climax was. Maybe it comes to me in a dream, he said. That night, Timothy whispered in the ear of the sleeping ringmaster, the climax for your pyramid of PG drums is the little elephant with the big ears, the world's mightiest midget, lost at all number. He will jump from the springboard to the very top of your pyramid, waving the flag for a glorious finish. The next day, the ringmaster got his elephants together for the premiere of their dazzling act under the big top. Inspiration had come to him in a dream. Dumbo would be the climax. The pyramid of elephants was a bit wobbly but ready. Dumbo was dressed in a costume with a little flag to wave. The trumpets trumpeted, the drums rolled. "You're on, Dumbo," said Timothy, jabbing the reluctant elephant with a pin. Dumbo ran towards the springboard, but just as he got to it, he tripped over his big floppy ears. Instead of sailing to the top of the big high elephant pyramid, he sailed smack into it, knocking the elephants all off balance so they flew in all directions. One elephant landed on the high wire. Two more found themselves bouncing onto the trapeze. One dropped into the safety net and its weight pulled the whole tent down. It was a disaster, and Dumbo's clumsiness and big ears were to blame. In disgrace, Dumbo was sent to Clown Alley. "Oh, the shame of it," said one of the elephants. "Let us take a solemn vow to one another. From now on, Dumbo is no longer an elephant." The clowns needed Dumbo to be the baby in their burning building act. Dumbo was terrified of jumping from the top floor window to the fireman's net, and worst of all, he was ashamed to be the ridiculous plaything for the clowns. But the audience loved the act with Dumbo in it. The clowns had never enjoyed such applause. After the show, Timothy tried to cheer Dumbo up. "You're a big hit, you're terrific, you're colossal." But Dumbo was still sad. "Look," said Timothy, "you're such a hit, the clowns are drinking a toast to you." The clowns were celebrating their new success with champagne, and a bottle of it tipped over and spilled into Dumbo's water bucket. Timothy and Dumbo innocently drank all the water, wondering at the strange bubbles in it. After an attack of hiccups, both fell asleep, and Dumbo had a remarkable dream of pink elephants and flying. When Timothy and Dumbo awoke, they were amazed to find themselves up a limb of a tree with a flock of crows. They knew that elephants can't climb trees. There was only one way they could have arrived there. Dumbo must have flown. Timothy became very excited. "Your ears, Dumbo! They are perfect! Wings, you flew!" But Dumbo didn't want to believe it. Finally, to help him, one of the crows used some psychology. he gave Dumbo a magic feather to hold in his trunk. "Now you can fly," they all told him. Timothy sat in the rim of Dumbo's hat, and the crows got behind the elephant on the branch of the tree and they pushed. "Flap your ears," Timothy instructed. Up, down, 1, 2, faster, faster. Get up your flying speed," and Dumbo took off. "We fly, just like an eagle," exclaimed one crow. "Better than an aeroplane," said another. "Brother, now I've seen an elephant fly." I've seen everything. That day, Dumbo made history when he joined the clowns for the first burning building act. Instead of jumping from the top floor, Dumbo, with Timothy perched on his hat and the magic feather clutched in his trunk, flew. He flew all around the circus tent, looped up to the very top of it, zoomed down and around the crowd. The clown and the ringmaster watched in amazement. Suddenly, the magic feather blew away. Dumbo looked startled and stopped flapping his ears. "Come on, Dumbo, fly," Timothy urged. "Open up them ears. The feather was just a gag. You can fly, honest, you can fly." Dumbo started to drop to the ground, but at Timothy's words he began to wave his big ears again, and he soared up and up and up into the air. He could fly, he could really fly all by himself. "Wonder elephant soars to fame," said the newspaper headline. On the circus train, Dumbo, Timothy and Mrs. Jumbo, happy to be together at last, travelled in style. And Dumbo's private car. Ooh! From that day on, Dumbo was the star of the circus. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed my reading today. Please subscribe and tell a friend, and enjoy your day.